Hey everyone, and welcome to the GRC Room for 5 Questions. I'm Mike Andrews here once again with Karina Klever, and we're happy to welcome guest Peter Schawacker, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Nearshore Cyber. How are you doing today, Peter?
Better than I deserve. How are you?
Awesome. All right, well, let's get right into it. We have a lot to talk about, so let me pass it to Karina for a brief intro on the first question.
Great, thanks, Mike. So I'm Karina Klever, founder and CEO of Klever Compliance. We are combating toolard for 2026 as a top priority. We also do compliance management as a service. So, Peter, let me get to the very first question. What part of cyber GRC do you believe that businesses struggle with the most?
Accounting. GRC is fundamentally about accounting and accountability. Know what you have, know what its value is, which is a non-trivial matter, and make sure that the people are using those assets and mitigating liabilities for the benefit of the business and its stakeholders.
Very interesting.
I know that's what they taught me in the CISO training or whatever, and I think it's true.
That's a good point, because like every time we go work with a client, the first things we want to see is a hardware software list, data classification, data flow diagram, network diagram, because if they don't have those things, they may not know what they have, and you can't really protect something that you don't even know you have.
Yeah, well, I mean, although we actually do. I mean, if you consider the metaphor of biological organism. I protect my body without really knowing how it works. I don't know what microbes are on me, but I wash my hands, right? You don't have to know, have to know as much as you think you know. But you have to take the right actions. And I think if an organization has discipline around attempting to understand itself through inventories and things like that, or heaven forbid we have a good CMDB, right? I think that you stand a better chance of avoiding problems than if you don't. So I say that because I think there's a bit of I think that we ask a lot, and sometimes with the belief that if we don't get what we want, we're all in deep trouble. We're not. The world continues, computers get used, and it's all right.
Yeah, no, great points. For question number 2, Peter, we've seen a lot of data breaches, big and small. What's one data breach that stood out to you the most, and why that one?
The one that stands out to me the most is when I personally had some money stolen from my phone bill in 1996 because of a modem that was dialing a phone that was like, one of these sort of would charge you back in those days. That's what did it for me. And I could say like target breach, I could say, OMB breach, I could say any of that stuff. But the reality is that they all sort of fade into the background. The breach that matters to you is the breach that you endure. Now, I've done a lot of IR over the years, stories, right? But eventually they start to feel like entertainment. And that's not the point. The point is to understand what the real security concerns and how people feel about risks matters to them. Everything else is just, it's entertainment.
Yeah, and this is kind of where I think you're kind of toggling the consumer on one side and the company on the other side, right? So CCPA has some ridiculous changes coming up effective January 1, 2026 on behalf of that consumer and as requirements for that company. But if your data is breached as a consumer, it stings pretty hard. Now, imagine the magnitude and the scale and the multiplication factor. If you're a larger company and you just forego security awareness, or you just do sloppy stuff, or just checkbox compliance, that becomes a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, well, and the story has to serve a purpose. Now, the example I say is one that matters to me personally, but I bring it to work with me. Like the way we think about risk. Like I was walking across the street and I almost got hit by a car because I was looking the wrong way, or whatever. Like any of these like personal risk scenarios come to the office. The big breaches are useful because they're in the Wall Street Journal and they show up in reports, and they're useful for making presentations and making reports and making a case in an attempt to make an objective point. But they don't really connect with people.
Yeah. That's true. So with that, the third question, what is the most impactful GRC related advice that you've ever received?
Be realistic and don't try and run too fast. GRC always has built into it the expectation that the business runs at the business's pace, and the GRC is there to enable the business to manage its risk and compliance appropriately, and that compliance actually simplifies risk, right? The risk that I'm going to get hacked is who knows what it is, right? And there's all sorts of fancy math around that, and I can come up with numbers. But I know that if I am not compliant with X, it will either cost me money or I have to shut down. It's much simpler. So for me as a sometimes GRC practitioner, I really like compliance. It just makes the decisions easier.
For sure it does.
Yeah, I agree with you. I made a post about a month ago that compliance has increased the attention on cybersecurity, and if there was no compliance, a lot of companies would do absolutely nothing, because companies often don't act until they have a reason they absolutely have to. No company feels like doing compliance or cybersecurity; they have to do it.
Yeah, well, cyber is compliant. Like GRC and security are not unique. Like, if I could get away with paying my employees less than minimum wage, I would. Right? I mean, there are all sorts of laws that establish minimums to account for stakeholders that otherwise don't rate, right? Externalities. Much of what we, what we do with privacy is about externalities. The people who we have their data, they're not paying us anymore. We don't care about them really. So the government makes us care.
Great point. To build on that, Peter, the fourth question, what you've done a lot in this field. What is something that you do differently that allows you to excel in this field?
Very long-term vision. I'm in staff and recruiting. I'm kind of ex-cyber. Like, I hang around, and I still remember. I was a CISO. I was in cyber for 28 years, and now I concentrate on staff and recruiting cyber people. And I found that if I make long-term investments in that community, help people and help people and help people and help people and help people, help people, every now and then somebody comes along and says, "What do you do for money? What can I buy from you?" I'm like, literally, I've had people say that because there was a time I wasn't that good at selling. And I found that when we take a long view of just about anything, that perspective makes it all better and more fulfilling.
Absolutely, completely agree, especially with bringing new skill and new people into this industry. It's such a strange thing to explain and to train on. And at Clever Compliance, we have a lot of folks who go through our fellowship program, right? And they go off and get GRC positions, but it's a little bit of cyber, it's a little bit of project management, it's a little bit of being able to tolerate reading. We had a previous guest on that said, people hate reading. Well, you kind of gotta, I sit and I read laws, and I love it because it actually gives me horse's mouth requirements for how to establish GRC programs, right?
Well, yeah. Well, like, let's face it, not everybody belongs in this business.
Oh, of course.
I mean, and if you don't like reading, like, don't come.
Exactly.
We've kind of like over-indexed on inviting people into cyber and GRC, and to the detriment of everyone, especially the people who made those investments of time and years and tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And now they're walking around like they had their first job and they're like, I hate this. And we did it because we want everybody to be like us. I think it was something that we did to make ourselves feel special, and because the image of cyber was, I don't know, so people thought it was cool. I never thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I don't think it's particularly glamorous.
Right.
But yeah, there's certain, and I'm really glad that you guys are doing the fellowship. I think it's important. Yeah, it's like we're kind of an odd lot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So last question to close us out. What is the one thing that a business can do today just strengthen its cyber GRC?
Find out where you need to strengthen it. Right. I mean, there is a tendency to look at the grand list of requirements and then just start at the top and working with, and then like you get 20 down the list of 500, and you're like, this is absurd. You're not going to do it all, and you're not going to do it all at once. And even if you try, by the time you get to number 300, it's changed again.
Yeah.
Right. So make sure that you have good advice from professionals who've been around, who understand the dynamics, and that it's not holy writ. It's tools to make your business better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great point. Until you have that assessment and you really know what's going on, you're kind of just guessing. And there's been more than once where we've been contacted by a company that says, help us with this. And then I'll say, have you had an assessment in the past year or two? And they're like, no, we haven't had an assessment, but we know that's important. We'd really like your help with that. Yeah. And I said, honestly, our company's largely focused on doing assessments because we think if you don't, you're not treating root causes, you're treating symptoms. So we encourage you to do that. You know, we have some can help you out with like a deal or something, but we can only work together if we do the assessment. So
it's all about understanding the problem. It's all problems. The solutions are easy. AI makes the solutions really easy, but it doesn't absolve anyone from understanding the problem, and that takes people my age. I won't tell you how old I am, but old enough. And it's like, that's the one thing that the experience that is required to cope with all the change in the world it's essential. You can't automate it. You can't AI it out. And so, that's why you got here.
Well, good. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us. Thank you for that, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. We know you're all over LinkedIn, but other than LinkedIn, where can people find you?
We have a community on the Circle platform with a couple of thousand members. And you can get to it through our website at www.nearshorecyber.com.mx. There's a button that says join community, and it's free.
Nice. Fantastic. All right, good. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you.